Draymond Green, we're here talking about him again, and of course, we're not talking about him in a good way.
Nothing good.
Draymond Green has officially been suspended indefinitely. I guess he's supposed to be going to some quote unquote counseling, like they said, Ja did.
Ja, same little Ja treatment right here.
Yeah, exactly the same. Probably miss 8 to 10 games and end up coming back. What do y'all feel about it, man? We talked about it extensively before. We talked about it. We locked it. We talked about it, but God damn, Draymond, like, come on, dog. Like, what you got going on that you need to keep doing this?
It's honestly ridiculous.
I blame the NBA in a sense because, like, the argument that we had, that not us, but just the media in general, about his suspension for the choking, I feel like he should have got way more than that. Like, you shouldn't, like, he got 3 games, 5 games, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
5.
But, like, no,
well, technically 6.
He needed 10
because he got ejected in the beginning of the game. So.
Right, but I'm saying, like, that kind of shit there is like, I mean, he choked the man out. Like, come on now, like 3-5 games, nah, he should have had more than that and send a message like, hey, you can't be doing this. But I mean, I don't know what else he got going on. Maybe he just won out. I don't know. Who knows?
What
I don't know what it is, man.
What's up with that brother? That brother needs help.
That's what. That is crazy, man. Because you would think that at some point it would click to be like, you just chill, but he doesn't seem to care, and that's and it's all the enabling. I mean, we talked about this for years, Shad. Like all the enabling that this team does for him, because of what he was offering the team that he does not offer, that he has not been offering really for the last couple of years. But vocally, yes. But it's like you gave him this much, you gave him so much leash.
Mm-hmm.
To take it away, like all of a sudden, the last, I guess you could say last 6-7 months since the playoffs with Sabonis, to take it away and be like, nah, stop.
I wouldn't even say it's not going to.
It's just not. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen cleanly. I don't think you can. I mean, you got to. I think he should get at least 10 games. Yes, I think Ja had when that happened initially, he get like 10, 11 games.
I thought it was 8 games
with that counseling, or maybe that. With that counseling stipulation into it, but like, dude, this ain't gonna stop.
I'm talking about, like, even for, like you said, for Ja, it's like, I get your reasoning, branding, but you gave him, man, half the season damn near for what for shit he did outside of y'all organization in general. This man is putting hands on people, like showing products of we fight
consistently.
Here, consistently. More, like, come on, like, no.
And honestly, the biggest thing is for me, you said it, Cass. We've talked about it in terms of the enablement and stuff like that over the years, but it's honestly been different than what he used to do. His little dumb shit where he was lifting his leg up and hitting people in the nuts. He said back then, he said it was something he couldn't control. It's just a natural reaction. Surprisingly, he hasn't done it since. But where I honestly think the timeline kind of starts is in the last championship. Was the last championship for them against the Celtics, because if you remember, I think what was it, Game 3, Game 4, or even maybe it was Game 2, that they're like, obviously the Celtics were kind of getting off on them, but then they started talking about Draymond's got to start mucking it up. And I feel like that was the true enablement.
Yeah.
That, I feel like that's where it kind of started, because he was like, he understood, and I think he ended it. Didn't he get suspended and coming off the bench during the playoff run?
Against Sabonis? Was it when he stepped on Sabonis?
No. This was it wasn't. The Sabonis thing was last year.
Yeah, Sabonis thing was last year. This when they won the champion. He was coming off the bench. He was he was getting played off the floor. Like, it was like his impact
was it when they went against Memphis? I think it was Memphis.
It may have been against Memphis. Maybe it was one series. He ended up getting suspended, and then he was like, "Yeah, y'all can go ahead and bring me off the bench. It only makes right for Jordan Poole." And once he ended up getting reinserted, that's when it was Draymond has to muck it up to get physical, blah blah blah. And I feel like that was the true enablement, because they ended up winning a championship, so that validated everything that they were saying pre KD, post KD, XYZ.
Yeah.
And then obviously We all know what happened shortly after that with the Jordan Poole punch. We've talked about it extensively on the show in terms of the revalidation once he punched Jordan Poole, bringing him back for the first game. Nobody saying anything about him doing a fucking documentary about punching his teammate. Like, come on, dog.
And then
Like,
getting rid of him.
And then
get rid of
not
Jordan
only before we even get to the point of getting rid of him, Draymond did multiple interviews and conversations about the Jordan Poole thing that he could have easily denied, and he kept doing stuff like that. Then we get to the Sabonis thing. Then we get to them letting him go. So it's like a continuous validation. And this is not to say Draymond is some bad guy or, an idiot or anything like that, like some people like to, come out and say. But it's like, bro, at some point, if you keep telling us that you have IQ, your team wins because of your IQ and this, that, and a third. This is IQ. Like, this is, at some point you have to understand you're not just getting kicked out of games and then you're blowing your hot breath and calling people pussies in the stands and routing your team up. Like, this, not only is this not the same team, because we're seeing Clay as buns, we're seeing Wig don't got it, we're seeing really the whole team doesn't have it, I predicted they would miss the playoffs, and I mean, at this point it's looking like
it. It's looking like it.
And it's like, bro, you're hurting your team, and it's really looking like the dynasty is gonna end ugly, and it started back with it. It's obviously started with the punch, like, officially, but I think it even goes back to the validation from the championship. And I think this dynasty is gonna end this season, and it's gonna end with missing the playoffs and end with both Draymond and Clay being gone.
It's crazy that it's ending this way because of how dominant it was. This was a great stretch by them, great 6-7 year stretch by them. But
one more thing I want to add is it's also kind of funny because you can, in a sense, in a way, you can kind of say the dynasty started with Draymond, because if Draymond doesn't become Draymond and the defensive player, they probably aren't what they are. If Draymond doesn't go crying to KD, they're probably not what they are.
That's sad. That's true too.
I'm talking shit, but they probably are what they are.
I'm singing gospel, bro.
But and so to go with starting with Draymond to Draymond ending it, it feels like it almost gives him another validation, because it's like, damn, like I had that, I was the most important quote unquote person, but maybe he's even trying to make it seem like he is. He's trying to be the main character.
It's ugly, man. And like it's not helping the fact that you got this big regression, which I don't really consider regression, but regression from Andrew Wiggins, and then Klay Thompson cannot. I mean, they closed the game yesterday. It was a close game against the Phoenix Suns, albeit without KD. Andrew Wiggins on the bench, Klay Thompson riding the bench, pretty much down the whole stretch of the fourth quarter. Like, you can't trust these guys anymore. I mean, they say this starting five, the one with Draymond and Klay in it, has like a minus 10.2 net rating, which is worse than the Pistons starting five. And the Pistons lost 20 games straight. This team is just not good. It's the Chris Paul experiment, not it. It's not like, and we knew this going into it. Like, Chris Paul's had good games, but that's not what his team needed. They didn't need another guard, another small guard. It's not what his team needed. Getting rid of Jordan Poole. I mean, he had a good game yesterday, but
that poses a question of, like, a dynasty like them. Like, at what point, should you pivot? At what point should they have, went ahead and start, looking towards the future? You at that point where it was like, I felt like the injuries that happened that allowed them to get no one pick, they should have used that time frame to, set up their future in general. And they got the pick. They tried. But I'm saying they got rid of them too quick. They was like, okay, well, we're going to keep. They kept their core in. I mean, yeah, ultimately they did win that one more championship. But I just felt like it's one of them conversations like, okay, when should you start, make it make sense? Like, when you should start. Because at this point now, it's like you just said, they tried, but they got rid of Wiseman. They just got rid of Jordan Poole. Like, you getting rid of some key pieces that could have potentially help, like, propel your team to being more youthful and alleviate time for Steph in general.
A couple guys that they could have got LaMelo instead of Wiseman. They could have got Therese Halliburton instead of Wiseman. You know, those are some guys that would have helped. Okongwu, he might have been a better big for them than what they've necessarily got. They probably wouldn't have taken him that high. Isaiah Stewart, obviously, Therese Maxey. A lot of good players that they could have, and you could have even.
My thing is like, not to cut you off, but I mean they they picked up a Jordan Poole, but ultimately they decided I'm gonna keep Clay, and I'm gonna keep these other players, and
it was validation to Draymond.
We'll go back to Draymond. Draymond's key,
validation to Draymond, and I think that's the thing. That's the thing. And because most dynasties don't get blessed with that opportunity that they had, that the injuries didn't hurt them enough that they were no longer going to be contenders, and they still got an opportunity to get a top 3 pick in a draft that had Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, and Therese Halliburton, and Therese Maxey. You could have traded the kitchen sink.
But that's tough. Yeah,
you could have traded the kitchen sink to try to get up to one to get Anthony Edwards. I'm sure there was plenty of players that you could have tried to piece together, to get up there and still kept the core. So it's like it's bad decisions. And then when you, like I said, double down on Draymond, it's always going to come back down to that. When you double down on Draymond and you double down on getting rid of Jordan Poole, you basically double down on, because he also alluded that even though he has been playing well over the past couple of games, Kuminga, he had no relationship with him, and that they doubled down on the fact that he basically said that in his interview with Paul George that the older guard was on one end, the younger guard was on another end. So you double down on like not pushing forth the development for your team.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be a team that you guys said were light years ahead. And we see the only person that was light years ahead was Bob Myers, because he got the hell up out of there.
Got up out of there.
Oh my God.
Him a cush job with ESPN,
cush job.
Chilling.
And he don't got to deal with none of that. He could just talk about it.
Yeah. It's tough, man. But it's like you asked the question, when do you pivot? I mean, it probably should have been, a couple years ago.
Once he punched him.
Yeah.
Really.
But you're at the point now where you gotta. All right, so that Shams reported today that they offered Klay Thompson a 2-year, $48 million contract in the offseason, which was declined, and now there's no deal. You can't give Klay what he wants. He wants a lifetime achievement contract. That's not what they need if you want to remain competitive within the Steph era, because Steph has a good 4 more years of elite play. You cannot give Klay
4 more years. But
I think 3 to 4. I'll compromise.
I mean, the thing
but you can't
is,
give Klay a big
contract.
Him
to the ground.
They're running him to the ground.
That's true too.
You don't have Jordan Poole. You got Chris Paul behind you. Because I mean, not to wish it upon somebody, but judging off your history, at some point Chris Paul's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So it's a tough situation, but they're going to miss the playoffs. I said that they're going to miss the playoffs.
You did say it.
Let's just say
it. I had him at 9, 10.
I had him in the play-in. I had him in the play-in. I think I had him in the play-in.
Nah, y'all was scared. I went all in. I went 10 toes. I was 10 toes down, nigga. Yeah, fuck up, Reggie. Yeah, man. But moving to the next topic and more important topic and bigger topic than Draymond kind of took the limelight off of it, and moving to his bestie, his bestie, LeBron and the Lakers. Man, they got the dub, the first in-season tournament winners. I don't know what to call it. Like, is it like, did they win a championship? What do they exactly win? And that's something that's kind of been the conversation before the Draymond stuff.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you handle it? Now we know that the Lakers are going to raise some sort of banner. Before they came out and said that they weren't going to do that, obviously the NBA probably was like, "Hey, let's go ahead."
They definitely stepped in on that,
and it's also giving validation to the in-season tournament, and it's something. I mean, it is something to. If this is something that you expect to keep going, which it looks like it is because of how great the games were, how they got exactly what they wanted. They had a star.
Were up there,
they had a views. They had a star emerge from that in Therese Halliburton. He didn't have the greatest game. He still went 20-11 for the champion or the championship game. I don't know what the hell. The championship game. You know, they got exactly what they wanted, and then they got the best player in the NBA. Came out on top.
It was the perfect person to win it. Perfect person to win the first one. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of written. And then we did talk about the Lakers kind of taking this more seriously than everybody else. You just see it in the way they played. But I think this will kind of lead to more teams taking it a little bit more seriously next year. You know what I mean? Just like when those games come up on the schedule for next season, in the beginning, it's like, okay, let's lock in because let's do it. Why not? You know what I mean? And of course, the money thing is good for especially the younger players. And they talk about that a lot.
Giannis, he didn't know about it. So.
That's Cap,
man.
Yeah. No, but it was good to see. Like you said, young star emerging. This was the place for that to happen. Would have hoped it would have been Zion, but of course but Tyrese did show up, got everybody talking about him. Now he just had to do it again when it come down to March, April, and then to the playoffs in May. Exactly. So I mean, it was everything they wanted to see. Like nothing bad came from this, and that's
nobody got injured.
Yeah,
nobody got injured during it. You know, like you said, you probably got the team. You know, you probably might have hoped that it was like a Celtics Lakers. That would have been something to see. But to get a little into the game, you know, it ended up getting kind of ugly at the end.
Yeah.
AD, he came to play and he showed you exactly why people get frustrated with AD. Because when you put up 41 and 20,
easily, how do you have a playoff game where you're scoring 14 points in the whole game? You know what I mean?
41 and 20
is,
you know, Bron came out with 24, 11 and 4. You know,
what AR, Chris? You like, hey, hold on now. He did drop 28 off the bench.
Come on now, and he been snapping. Put some respect on that boy name, man.
Bro, they don't want to talk about when you hitting them 6 points to a 16 type shit. They don't want to talk about that.
This ain't prize picks.
Don't talk about that. Bro, it ain't even about AR, bro. It really about that boy Bron, man. Hey, shout out to Bron. I mean,
shout out to Bron.
You can't. I mean, honestly, at this point in time, at this point in the life, if you say fuck Bron, I mean he tried it. You just hate it because I mean I'm like I said, I'm a Celtics fan, so obviously I hated him when he played for Cleveland, Miami, all that shit. But I mean you can't take away from what he doing. Like it's him. Like every time you step on the court, it's a game.
Yeah,
it ain't nothing to play with. It ain't we can cruise. No. If every time you on the court, it's a real live game. Like you gotta take that shit serious. Man. I mean, you can't say nothing about it. No better person to win the first inaugural.
I'm glad that you said that. Like every time there's on the court, because that's also something that people and we really have it. We're seeing it. We just spoke about it. Basically, LeBron, every time he steps on the court, you get a game. LeBron, every time he steps on the court, you get a show. And that's something that's gonna be missed, and I don't think people realize you don't get that same show from everybody like you want, like you expect. Like we seen AD, you don't get it every week. Zion, you know, he's in the news for snacks. You know, you got Brandon.
What Stephen A. said. What did Stephen A. said? They said he eating the table.
Yeah, he eating the whole table. I mean. It's you don't get that same. I mean, and we start. I said Anthony Edwards was somebody that was going to kind of take over. We're starting to see that Tyrese Halliburton is maybe putting on a show. Jason Tatum, he puts on a show for the most part, but he clearly has sometimes where he has those duds. I mean, LeBron, what does he have, like 1,000 straight games where he hasn't scored under 10 points? Like you're always getting it, and man. You even see KG standing up for him, calling niggas cupcakes
and I think for him, it took that. It took him to, retire and just watching. I think he finally just started watching him play. Like, damn,
all that hate.
You gotta give it. Yeah,
that old and he's just going crazy.
It was a lot of hate going on.
You couldn't even be mad. Like you playing against him, he put you out the playoffs so many times. He done made y'all break up.
It's not even just that. It's not even just that. It's like before it even started, before like the hate that he got when he was coming into the league from current players.
That's facts.
For current players, and like that to me, that's what makes him. That's in part what makes him the greatest. Because it's like, bro, like y'all been hating on him for so long, like for 20 years, dog, and he's still he getting y'all to the point where you like, God damn, like I can't say nothing else. Like I said a nigga
And I
wasn't
think the
clutch.
one
Now
other
he
thing
got
that
the
came
most
in
game winners. Like
it got in his favor was, he never really played the villain. Like he never really played like,
except for 1 year.
everybody.
Except for that 1 year
Right,
in Miami.
but most of the part he never been like, oh y'all hating, like I'm about to show. He never been. He just played like, all right, whatever. Y'all,
Yeah.
y'all gonna talk about me. That's cool.
It's been great to see, man. We are gonna look back and be like, damn, once he's gone, because like you said, Shot, like looking for that next kind of face to step up and be that talking point every night.
Bruh.
You would like who is that going to? You would think it would be Jason Tatum because of the team that he's on, is because it's not going to be anybody on the Lakers.
Yeah.
So you would think that it'd be Jason Tatum, but Jason Tatum has to get over that.
You got to be built
because JT's having a good season, but it's just like, oh, okay, what is he going to do in the play? You know what I mean? Is he going to get over that hump? Once he does, though, I think it'll kind of, I think they'll build up more and more. But it's gonna be tough to see. Like looking around, like you can say Ant Edwards, but at the end of the day, they have no TV games. You know what I mean? They like it's just tough. It's tough to get behind that. You never see him like if you don't.
Even Giannis.
We do. Even Giannis, it's tough. It's tough. Jokic is just, you're not going to get the flash for him. It's just like
and that's the problem with like the
work.
thing that's just a knock against them. Is unfortunate, but like you said, you're not gonna get the flash, so you ain't gonna see them on Sports Center every day. You ain't gonna see them in the top. How many times you done seen LeBron top 10 highlights Sports Center before he went to school type shit? Like how many times you done seen him in that thing? And it's like you'll see a pass here and there from Jokic, but he's not a flash, so it's like, it's just Jokic, whatever.
You got LeBron's quote unquote actual rivals that are podcasters. At this point, like like his son just played in a fucking USC game, like a college game. His son was his son even born when we first got introduced? No, his son wasn't even born when we first got introduced to LeBron, bro. Like come on, like, we didn't know it. Well, I don't know about y'all, but we didn't know each other. There was no podcast 20 years ago, nigga. Podcast wasn't even thought about. Like, bro, like y'all didn't meet y'all significant others. Like y'all ain't met them yet. Y'all didn't even know what schools y'all was gonna go to. Like, bro,
it's wild, man.
It's been a part of your whole life, bro.
Bro, we were still in elementary school, bro. That's crazy when you think about it.
That's crazy. Because I was like, I definitely wasn't tapped in back then, but like looking back at it, like the prolonged run is, are we ever gonna see anything like it? No. You know what I mean? I don't see that. You just won't.
And we really don't even know when he's gonna retire.
That's true too, because he could easily go another like 2 seasons.
We could, 3 seasons. We make the joke, but as Bryce gets in and LeBron's playing, I mean,
and Bryce will be 3 years from now, which I can definitely see LeBron still in the league. Like at this point,
and I'm not even gonna say not necessarily. He could absolutely play in 3 years. We have no evidence that he's not going to be this LeBron in 3 years.
Like a 20 over 25 a night scorer, like still like
dead ass. Like I seriously think it's on the table that LeBron James outlasts Steph and outlasts KD. I think it's
he
on
has
the
that
table.
support. He has the support from his family, of course, because she wants to see it too. She even said it that she wants to see him play with Bryce gets in. Once you got the support from the wife, you know what I mean?
Zuri about to play in the WNBA. LeBron gonna be still playing, nigga.
Hell no.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man.
It's wild.
Ending the show, talk about the king. Ain't a better way to end it, man. With that being said, man, appreciate y'all for catching up with us again in another week of the Speak Up Sports Podcast. We will catch y'all next week, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.